we love Matt. He's donated a lot of his hard-earned money to this podcast instead of to girls, and I think that's so different.
Wait.
I know, but he's just like that. He's been donating all night, and like that's cool and all, but it's just like, what's the difference between that and donating a lot of money?
Because nobody's here taking their clothes off for him for the purpose of having him debate. That's
true. I get that. I get that, but
I would say that's a pretty big difference.
It's a key difference.
Yeah.
I guess it's up to you to decide what. Like, you guys don't agree with that. We think that fans and all that shit is fine.
Do you think
so
this is
like, I don't think this is work, but I think that this is just as bad as sex work.
Yeah.
You guys are
one guy
profiting
out there
off
like,
of
oh my
bringing
God,
workers on here.
She was like, eat it slowly.
So like, I don't know. I think it's like the same thing. It's literally even though it's not the same thing.
It's literally not the same thing.
I just think it is.
Especially when you say the word literally.
Off of OnlyFans.
Especially when you say the word literally, it means it's exactly the same. So it's literally not the same thing. But let's just take literally off the table and just say it's kind of like this. It's not even kind of like that.
I guess.
It's kind of like it in the same way that you, I don't know, send a check to the IRS, right? Then that means that's kind of like
the IRS.
But she made a good point. There's an awful lot of girls on your channel.
Oh my God. Let's debunk
actually,
this
I'd love
claim.
to get into that.
Let's debunk this claim. Well, I mean, actually sending money to the IRS, yeah, so it is kind of like...
It's kind of like... Yeah.
Same. Austin, can you pull up the stats? I think search downloads folder stats. Search the stats folder, please, or the downloads. I think it's the downloads.
I'm not even saying you guys have more OnlyFans girls. That doesn't make a difference.
There's an awful lot of OnlyFans girls on
About
the show.
1 in every 20 females.
An awful lot. So okay, you brought this thing. You bring up. So 20% of the girls who've been on the show, we've done the stats on this. It's 20%.
Are OnlyFans girls?
High.
Yeah.
Maybe
From like the whole time you
It's
watch
higher. Look, granted, it's higher than the amount of only girls in the population, but like people say, you only, bro, it's an OF ad agency, you only bring only girls on. This panel actually is one of the first in a very, very long time. I can't even remember the last time we had a predomination of like worker girls on the panel, and that's also because we had a couple flakes today, but or no shows and flakes. I mean, Andrew, you've been on a bunch of recent panels. Jake, you've been on a bunch of recent panels. I mean, usually it's been like the past bunch
usually
of
there's
panels. One or two.
Yeah, it's definitely going in a direction of like less.
Maybe
I've noticed.
What you
maybe
got,
people
Kayla?
say that because like I think like your most like popular videos or like at
What?
least clips.
Most
have-
popular ones are from feminists and political takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Delilah, like Tamagotchi girl. Yeah, kicked off for using a fucking Tamagotchi. Like,
Do you know her by the way?
yes.
Oh, can you read this, Kayla? Go ahead.
So, ... According to Pippi Longstockings, she will let me smash that arse if I'm nice to her
Oh,
younger
that's cute.
siblings.
Pippi Longstocking.
Cat, bruh. She wants someone to treat her like shit and tell her she's a
Blank blank.
monkey.
Okay, no idea what that means, but
Yeah.
Green Eyes, thank you for...
Not very nice, but okay.
Thank you for that.
Loved
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Tamagotchi girl. I wouldn't even say that's our most viral one. And like,
Well, like,
That's-
I don't
Metro
know.
Matt donated $69. Stay mad, pause. If selling your body makes you lack that much confidence, you're clearly doing something wrong.
Metro Matt, thank you. Do you have the stats really quick, Austin? Then I'll...
Yeah, it's pure,
that should be fun.
It's just pure
That's fine.
cope, right?
Pure
so
cope.
the idea is like women who are engaged in work
We'll pull it right back up.
always want to create these absurd justifications by saying, well, what's the difference between what I'm doing and what you're doing? It's like, I'm not doing work. That's the fucking difference.
Well, you
Pretty
haven't
simple.
changed my mind at all. I still think the
Who
same
cares
thing.
if I haven't
I'm
changed
very
your mind?
open to, like, I want to understand your thought process.
Okay, well, let me give you my thought process. You ready? Work is immoral. Yes or no? It's moral or immoral?
Depends on what the work I do is not. I don't
Okay.
think so.
What type of work is?
I kind of think that, like, I 100% think prostitution is immoral. That's very sad. And pimping yourself out is
Why
very
is
sad.
prostitution immoral?
Because it messes with your mental health, and it is proven that the more that people, not just women, people in general, have like different partners and stuff, the less it makes it harder for them to connect in a human way.
Okay, but I don't
like,
understand.
I don't know. I think
wait,
that's
let's back up.
Science does not do that.
Let's back up a little bit. Okay. Prostitution is immoral because the outcomes are bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So then if I could demonstrate for you that for OnlyFans girls, the outcomes are usually also bad, would you then say that OnlyFans was bad?
Well, I mean, I just am not in that situation. The outcome
I'm not
isn't
saying
bad
that
for
you're
me,
in that
so I
situation.
guess I just don't understand.
You said prostitution bad, right?
Yeah.
And it's this because the outcomes are bad. So therefore, prostitution bad, right?
It's not great.
Okay, so then if it's immoral, you said immoral.
I mean, I'm just using your word. I don't think it's immoral. I think it's sad. Personally.
Is any work immoral?
I guess not particularly.
Is anything immoral?
When it's like pimps,
bad,
like pimping
bad
girls
stuff.
out.
Yeah, that's immoral.
Why is that
basically
immoral?
Because it's like against their will.
It's like trafficking.
What?
And like
It's
they're-
not against their will. Well, I mean, you could have a situation where you have prostitutes who willingly had pimps who protected them, right?
There are a
Well,
lot
but
of
they
then, hell
take, like,
yeah,
all their
have
money
fun,
and
I
stuff.
guess.
Well,
If
I mean,
that's what
yeah,
makes
you have to
happy
hire
and pays
security.
your
You have
bills,
to
do
hire-
what you need to
Hey,
do.
Hang on.
If
One
you're,
at a
like,
time, one at a time.
if you're like a prostitute just on your own and like don't have a pimp that takes a cut or like whatever, then I think that's their choice. And
Why would a pimp be immoral? If the pimp says, "Okay, I'll protect you. I get 30% of your proceeds," and the woman agrees, is that immoral?
but it's not always that simple.
Yeah, I know, but when it is that simple, is that immoral?
No, that's
Well,
not.
then having a pimp is not immoral. You're talking about coercion being immoral. You're talking about force being immoral. I can agree.
That is what I'm saying.
Warlord69 you donated $69. Chair 1, 2, and 3 are just mad they can't spend Brian's money on drugs. Quick roast. Chair number 1 looks like a man without makeup 1/10. Number 2 looks
Okay,
like
that
she
was fun.
smells 3/10.
That was fun.
Number 3 probably actually smells 1/10.
She smells really good, so. Bro, what?
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So back to this. When you're making these moral claims, you're actually saying things other than pimping are moral. You're saying if a pimp acts in a immoral way, it's immoral.
I guess.
Like when she physically doesn't have any more choices and her rights have been taken away by a person who is selling her body for her, that is
And
messed
it
up, and that
starts-
happens very commonly.
It starts off with like
I don't. Okay, hang on. I don't disagree that they
Yeah.
could even become. Let's just say it's like 99% of the time. Who cares? If being a pimp itself is not the thing you think is immoral, right? It's how a pimp behaves you think is immoral, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's the case, then I still don't even understand your objection. If there's a pimp, as long as the pimp is
No,
agreed.
I guess you're right. Like
Yeah.
I just don't like it when it's like a situation. That is immoral.
Nobody does. Right? Nobody does, right? But getting kind of back to the claim here, right? Is there any form of work you think is immoral?
No. No, I do not. Now that we have established, no, I do not.
wasn't prostitution one of like the first jobs girls were allowed to do?
Jesus
I
was
think-
friends with a too, like
Like-
best.
Oh, yeah, what
friends
was her
with a
name?
prostitute. I don't know. I'm not claiming to know anything like about the Bible or anything.
Was her
I'm
name
just-
Mary Magdalene? Don't know? You just know that he was friends with a prostitute. You don't know what her name was?
No, I stopped going to church
Yeah.
when
That's
I was
a
like
myth,
14.
by the way. Mary Magdalene wasn't a prostitute. But anyway, so that aside, though, when you say, okay, it's the oldest profession, I would even concede that it could be. I don't think it is. But so what? Like, so what? I would say one of the oldest professions is mercenary work. You think that killing people's moral? Right? Like,
For a woman.
No, I just
yeah,
think
for a
that-
man. Is it
Yeah.
moral for men to take
No.
mercenary? No, right. So then
Yes.
just saying because it's old doesn't make it moral.
Well,